Welcome to Table Talk. I'm your host, Karen Wilson. June is Dairy Month, which pays tribute to dairy farmers nationwide. In 1937, it began as a way for grocers to distribute extra milk during warm summer months, and by 1939, it became known as officially Dairy Month. Adding one more serving of milk to your family's day can help ensure that they get the nutrients they need to build strong bones and teeth. Local dairy farmers in our area are few and far between now, but we also need to say thank you to dairy farmers who work hard to provide for us. My guest today is Warren County Dairy Month Chairman, Mr. Hunter Rigsby. Welcome to the show, Hunter.
Thank you, Miss Karen.
Yeah, no, it's great for you to be here. We've talked about Dairy Month, I think, once before, but never in depth as far as that's something in our food process we kind of take for granted, don't we? Mm-hmm. So 4-H, I guess, in the Extension Office is shedding a light on dairy and how important it is to us and how important it is for dairy farmers to exist. So tell us about, I guess, the rich history of dairy in our region.
Well, when I was doing my research on this, I couldn't find a lot of the statistics for some of our surrounding counties, but here in Warren County, I found out that in 1890, we had around 3,400 dairy cows, which were producing around 1.5 million pounds of milk. And then in 1950, there was around 970 farms here in Warren County.
Wow.
And we had went up in our amount of cows, and we are now at 4,395. Then in 1964, the number of our dairies and stuff had kind of went down. We'd started the decline with in the farming industry. We were starting to move to other jobs, and we had 486 dairies selling around 33 million pounds of milk. Then in 1987, we took a census, and the numbers revealed that Warren County had around 110 dairies with around 5,000 cattle.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, you can see the decline there from 900 to 400 to 190, and then now, do we have any in Warren County
I do
now?
not believe so.
That's what I'm thinking too. I know that my husband dairy farmed for years and got out in the early 90s, and slowly, even those that had kind of held on have kind of let go of their dairy farms too. Let's talk about, though, statewide, how, I guess, much milk Tennessee does provide in the 2023.
I believe we were producing around 56 million gallons of milk each year.
Mm-hmm. And that's great because, I mean, Tennessee is not known now for dairy farms. You think of more like Wisconsin and areas like that. So that's great to know that statewide we're still contributing to that. Tell us, I guess, how dairy farming has changed over the years.
Well, I mean, I can state the obvious, and it's no longer really about going out there and sitting on your stool and getting under the cow and milking it. Now all these big corporations, they have their milking machines, and they have specialized diets for the cattle that'll make them produce as much milk as possible, and they can set them up in these big sort of I don't want to say compounds, but
Right, like it's not really a warehouse, but it's not the traditional barn like we think of a dairy.
It's not no open field, yeah.
Well, I know many years ago, we had the milk barn, and you might milk, say, 6 to 8 cows at a time, and that's when you had, the milkers, and they still have that now, but the ones you're talking about is like rows upon rows of cows. And I read, how much technology is playing a part in it to where at some farms the cows go in when they kind of know when they need to be milked. And so everything is they're cleaned automatically through different things that are in the barn, and then the milkers come up automatically, and all the mess, that accumulates in a barn is kind of cleaned automatically. So it sounds like technology's playing a big part in dairy farming now.
It's really evolved from where it used to be.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess also one of the big things we hear a lot about now is hormones in milk, and organic versus traditional milk. What is the difference between milk that has that organic label on it versus what we would normally buy in a gallon of milk?
Well, this is something I'm really strong about. So the USDA actually regulates it, and they legally cannot put any extra hormones in the milk besides what's already naturally there.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are some hormones that some farmers will give to their cows. I think it's called bovine growth hormones.
Mm-hmm.
But for it to be labeled organic, the farmer is not allowed to give them any kind of like vaccines or growth hormones or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're right, and I always wonder, like when a cow gets sick with mastitis or anything like that, traditionally the farmer will, or the vet will give the cow shots and things. But I guess if it's certified organic, they're treating them in a different way versus giving them shots with medicine in it and that kind of thing. So what's the difference? I guess also we're kind of, as we see some people go into more of a less processed form of milk, the difference between pasteurized and raw milk.
Well, one of the main differences is the raw milk. It's going to be creamier, it's a little thicker, it's got a different smell. And that's what they use to actually make cheese and stuff, is that it'll form a little line
Mm-hmm.
or layer on the top of like curds and stuff, and you can take that out, and that's what turns into cheese. But when it's pasteurized, there's two different ways it can go through, but it's where you heat it up to a high temperature, and then it'll kill off most of the bacteria that's in the raw milk, and because raw milk can sometimes have like diseases and stuff in it. So they'll get pasteurized, and that'll take away that bacteria and make it where you can't form those curds. But it also kind of preserves the natural nutrients and stuff in it.
Yeah, we think of pasteurization, and it is a good thing. It keeps us from getting sick. As you said, raw milk, although probably great, can have bacteria and things like that in it that can make us sick, E. coli and all of those things. So my vote would probably be to stick with pasteurized milk. But, I have drank milk where you ladle the top of it off, and it's great stuff. But I guess it's a personal choice that you have to make on whether you want pasteurized versus raw milk. So, as I had said before, my husband used to be a farmer and a milk farmer, and he swears that milk quenches his thirst like nothing else. And I was reading that milk contains electrolytes. Tell us about that.
Well, milk contains a lot of these electrolytes that we need to help build our bodies up. That's why they say that it's good to give kids milk, right?
Mm-hmm.
It contains calcium and sodium, potassium, and it's got some smaller amounts of like magnesium and phosphorus, which all this will help with building strong bones and eyesight and stuff like that.
Okay, so all the good things we need. I guess that's why we give milk to babies. At some point, they take formula or mother's milk, and then they move on to regular milk or cow's milk, and it got lots of good things in it that babies need. And I remember when my kids were little buying about 4 gallons of milk per week to keep everybody happy. So most families, young families, go through a lot of milk. I found it so odd. I purchased milk a few weeks ago at a convenience store, and the sell by date blew me away. It was October 2024, and this was a few weeks ago, which would have been in probably early May, I guess. Talk to me. Do you know much about that packaging? How that's possible that milk can last that long in this new? It was like in a carton, but it had silver on the inside of the carton.
Yes. So that's really two different things working together. So there's, as I said, there's two forms of pasteurization. There's regular pasteurization, which is where it's like heated up to like 145 degrees and it sits in there for a little bit. But then there's this ultra high temperature pasteurization, or UHT, where it's heated to a really, really hot temperature, but it's not in there very long at all. And they sit it in, they pull it right back out just about.
Within a few seconds, I guess it's pulled back out of that tent.
So with that, it doesn't really kill all the bacteria. It just kills enough to where it's like
I guess it increases the shelf life even longer.
Just gets rid of the diseases in it. So it's still safe to drink. And people claim you can even leave that milk out in like regular
That's what
temperature.
it said. You didn't even have to necessarily refrigerate it. And I was like, wow. You know, you kind of get scared of like what's in this milk or what's in that packaging. But how much waste that would help us. I mean, you think of how much milk gets poured down the drain because of waste. You know, we don't get to it, or we're shipping it places, third world countries and places like that. I mean, there are a lot of benefits to that.
And you mentioned the cartons on it. So them cartons, it has a special name. It's called a Tetra Pak or aseptic packaging. And it is a special carton that is like, so the outside's paper lined, so you got paperboard, and then in the middle of it there's a plastic liner, and then there's aluminum foil placed on the inside, which will keep out like light and air and other bacteria, so it lasts longer too.
Well, I have to say, it stayed in my fridge probably about 3 weeks, and it was as good as, you know, with my last bowl of cereal as it was with my first bowl of cereal. So it did work, I will say. Talk to us about Dairy Month and what all you all are doing to you know, pay homage to dairy farmers and everything this month.
Well, I have several dates that we're going to be doing stuff. Our big event is we've partnered with the Rock Island Trolley Stop, and we're going to be hosting a coloring contest. And the sheets, they can be picked up at the Warren County Extension Office, the Trolley Stop, or printing them from the Warren County June Dairy Month Facebook page. And we'll have them at each event, and we will be attending.
Okay, the trolley stop. Oh my gosh, that's kind of my favorite dairy thing. That place is amazing. Have you gotten to go there yourself?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, so I will tell the audience, if you've not been there, it's such a treat. They take ice cream to the like nth degree, and any flavor you can probably think of, and all these wonderful little decorations, edible decorations and stuff, with milkshakes and all the good things. Now you have to be ready to wait for it a little while, but ice cream is my very favorite dairy thing. We like it at my house a lot. So what else do you have coming up?
Well, I'm going to finish off on the trolley stop. Right, and I'm going to tell y'all what we're giving away. So the trolley stop has been providing us like souvenir glass hands and stuff. And then we also have gift certificates for our winners for that coloring contest. So you'll be able to get some ice cream.
All right.
And then we're going to be set up various places around town handing out freebies from the Dairy Alliance, including Dairy Day at the Warren County Farmers Market. on the 22nd, and at the Green Market in Sparta on the 21st, where we're going to be handing out like free ice cream.
All right.
And then on the 10th and the 14th, me and some of the other 4-Hers will be at one of our 4-H camps. So the kids going there will be able to participate in activities with dairy too. And then I'll be presenting and serving ice cream at the White County Library during the summer reading program on the 20th. And then we're still making plans and stuff, so there will be a lot more events. But if you want to reach me after June, I will be at the White County Beef Backers event at the fairgrounds, where I'll be working with the White County Young Farmers Association. They've been helping sponsor me a little bit too and providing ice cream.
And from what I understand, your expertise is in beef cattle. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then I'm assuming you started probably on a judging team for dairy. Is that correct? Is that how you did you participate in that throughout your 4-H time?
I haven't really done any dairy judging, but I've always wanted to try it.
I did that. We were talking, Hunter and I were talking before we went on the air. I somehow got to be a part of that, and it was fun to go do the ice cream taste testing, and you would taste milk, and they would give you, I guess, different cues in what you were looking for in the milk and cheese and things like that. So cheese is my number 2 favorite dairy. Everybody likes good cheese. Well, Hunter, thank you so much. We look forward to June and Dairy Month, and it's been very educational. You know, a lot of times we take for granted where our food comes from, and even though locally we don't have as many in Warren County, Van Buren, White, and Grundy, as many dairy farmers as we once did, we still appreciate those throughout Tennessee that are providing that for us. And I know there's Franklin, in Franklin, there's, I think, a dairy farmer there. Sometimes if you go to Four Corners Bulk and then also Viola to the bulk grocery store there, they have milk that comes from Tennessee. So if you want some good local milk, that's probably as good as it gets. So thank you so much for coming on today. And I'll say thank you to our guest. We hope you enjoyed the show today and found it very informative and helpful. Come back again next week for more Table Talk.